Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions.
Former President Barack Obama stepped back into the political arena, and as history shows, that's something that reliably gets under Donald Trump's skin. This week, Obama publicly backed a Democratic effort to redraw congressional districts in Virginia, urging voters to support a referendum that would approve a new map before the 2026 midterms.
Free and fair elections are the cornerstone of our democracy, but right now they are under threat. Over the past year, several Republican-controlled states have taken the unprecedented step of redrawing their congressional maps in the middle of the decade. And they've done it for a simple reason: to give themselves an unfair advantage in the midterms this fall. In April, Virginians can respond by making sure your voting power is not diminished by what Republicans are doing in other states.
In a video message, Obama framed the plan as a way to level the playing field and ultimately protect voters from what Democrats have described as aggressive redistricting moves by Republicans in other states. The proposal would allow a new congressional map, potentially giving Democrats several additional seats, but only if Virginia voters approve of it in an April referendum and the courts sign off on the plan.
Every day you wake up to things you just didn't think were possible. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other, and that some Americans count more than others, and that some don't even count at all. Everywhere we see greed and bigotry being celebrated, and bullying and mockery masquerading as strength. We see science and expertise denigrated, while ignorance and dishonesty and cruelty and corruption are reaping untold rewards. Every single day we see that. And it's hard to hope in those moments. So it may be tempting to get discouraged, to give in to cynicism. It may be tempting for some to compromise with power and grab what you can, or even for good people to maybe just put your head down and wait for the storm to pass. But this man, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, inspires us to take a harder path. His voice calls on each of us to be heralds of change, to be messengers of hope, to step forward and say, send me. Wherever we have a chance to make an impact, whether it's in our school, or our workplaces, or our neighborhoods, or our cities. Not for fame, not for glory, or because success is guaranteed, but because it gives our life purpose. Because it aligns with what our faith tells us God demands. And because if we don't step up, no one else will. How fortunate we were that Jesse Jackson answered that call. What a great debt we owe to him. May God bless Reverend Jackson. May he rest in eternal peace. God bless you.
Now, as mentioned, Democrats have argued that the Virginia effort is a response to Republican-led mid-cycle redistricting pushes encouraged by Trump in states like Texas. As we all remember, a similar ploy resulted in California passing Prop 50 that the Supreme Court recently cleared the way for it to be implemented. It royally backfired in Trump's face.
This narrative that Democrats are in disarray and that no one can figure out, how to talk about Trump or defeat Trump. I think Gavin Newsom is a pretty good test case for someone who knows exactly what to do. So he's now number one in the betting markets for who's going to be the Democratic nominee, which was not the case when Trump came into office. Prop 50, which is Gavin Newsom taking on Donald Trump in this redistricting fight from what he wants to be done in Texas, is going to be a huge success. The Republicans aren't even funding the effort against it anymore. I mean, the approval, I think it's at 57%. You have even the OC, Orange County, which is very conservative, turning out to say, yes, we should redistrict. Democrats are doing better and better on the generic ballot, portends well for the midterms. You have key constituencies that Trump won. Greg, we already talked about it in the green room. Young voters, cratering with them. Latino voters, 27% approval. It was 44% when Trump came into office. And headline after headline about this administration is layoffs. UPS, Amazon, Intel, Nestle, thousands of people losing their jobs. So I think that says that Democrats are doing a good job, certainly in Gavin Newsom talking about this, and that Americans are going to try voting for us in the midterms.
Jessica, so wait, just to be clear, those people are losing their jobs, hence the Dems are doing a good job.
No, hence that Trump is not doing a good job, and it is translating to support.
Amazon is cutting out people because of AI. Therefore, the Dems are doing a good job. That's what I heard.
It's not the job of the president to be able to manage the American economy and ensure that Americans can stay in their jobs.
And Obama also weighed in on that matter. It's exactly why his intervention carries so much weight, right? He's not just offering commentary. He's signaling that Democrats see this as a national political battleground tied directly to Trump's influence over this matter. And of course, the fact that him weighing in is bound to have Trump up in arms, considering that Trump's political rise was basically built in part on his opposition to Obama. From his early birther conspiracy to years of hyperbole and attacks on Obama as recent as claiming he had something to do with the Epstein files. Few figures provoke Trump's attention quite like his predecessor.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage.
And historically, whenever Obama re-enters the political conversation, whether through campaign speeches or policy criticism, Trump responds.
Did you ever hear of Barack Hussein Obama? Barack Hussein. Who likes Barack Hussein Obama? Who doesn't like him? I've heard worse. Honestly, I've heard less popular people than that.
Because Obama's message still carries so much weight long since his departure. His involvement mobilizes Democratic voters, especially younger voters and suburban moderates. And during a time in which Trump is losing support amongst independents, the stakes have never been higher. It's more than just one state's congressional map, right? It may help determine who controls the U.S. House of Representatives. If the Virginia proposal passes and courts allow it to take effect, it could reshape multiple congressional districts ahead of the 2026 elections. That's why both parties are paying so much attention to this matter, and they see the fight as part of a broader national contest over the rules of electoral competition. Obama's involvement signals that Democrats view the moment as strategic, especially in a midterm year in which Democrats have continued to outperform, even in places like Texas.
Yeah, and I actually think that they're probably even more than if the turnout that is coming in is being calculated. Mm-hmm. Democrats turned out more yesterday than they have for the first time, turned out more Dems than Republicans since 2002. It's an incredible number of Democrats turning out in Texas for a primary. So I think that these numbers and these margins are even closer. And Democrats, if they see that they can win, will put the money there and will put that seat back in the map because it will take Republican resources out of other states that are also close. So Democrats could have a real chance to take back the Senate.
I mean, look at this. Okay, share of Texas midterm primary ballots at this point in the cycle cast in Democratic primaries or Republican primaries. In 2022, the last midterm, overwhelmingly, the votes were being cast in Republican primaries, 62%. But look at what's going on now in the 2026 cycle. More votes are being cast on the Democratic side. What a shift from where we were 4 years ago at this point. More people in Texas picking up the Democratic ballot.
More Democrats are voting in Texas than Republicans. I mean, how unusual is that?
Just how unusual. Well, you see the massive shift from 2022, but look at history. Go all the way back. When was the last time that more people actually picked up a Democratic ballot, cast a ballot in a Democratic primary in Texas in a midterm? You have to go all the way back to 2002.
Hence why Trump is in a state of complete panic and calling for an end to the runoff between Paxton and Conlon as to avoid catastrophe. He knows the tide is changing across the country. And if this pattern holds, then the president will have a lot more to worry about come November.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.